Hey, it's Bill Gager coming to you from the Bergen Peak Trail in Evergreen, Colorado, and I just wanted to share with you something this morning on video that I found to be extremely powerful, both as a sales leader and a sales professional, in terms of my being able to make the emotional connection with a prospect, client, or one of my salespeople necessary to get them to buy into whatever it is I'm trying to get them to do, whether it's to buy or change their sales behaviors to be more successful. And it's something I call a motivation key. And all decisions to change, whether it's buying decisions or changing my behavior as a salesperson, are done emotionally. And emotions are funny. Neuroscientists define emotions as concepts in the brain that really don't lend themselves to being defined in words. And I always make the analogy, explain the emotion love to me. And it's impossible. Poets have been trying to do it for thousands of years, and they're not able to do it. That said, one of the interesting things we do as human beings is we often take certain words and invest a great deal of emotion into those words. I'm just going to be careful here because I'm on some ice and I had to bring my micro spikes. So what we do is we take certain words and we invest a great deal of emotion. And what happens is if I know what those words are for a client, a prospect, or one of my salespeople, and I use those words in my communication, in the story that I'm telling, to get them to buy into whatever it is I'm getting them to buy into, those words, 99% of the time, make an instant emotional connection. And I'll give you an example. I was working with a group of salespeople a number of years ago, and there was this one young salesperson who used to be a good performer, and then due to a series of circumstances, attitude changed and began to struggle. And so I did an exercise with them where I basically had them draw a picture of what they wanted to achieve over the next year. And then I asked them in that picture what's most important to them in 7 or less words. And so this one young woman said that the most important thing to her was paying for her wedding dress, because she and her fiance were getting married and they were paying for everything themselves. And so a couple of weeks later, I was with this salesperson, and again, she was struggling. She didn't have the best attitude. And I introduced myself in that session working with her and said, hey, the reason I'm here today is I want to see if we can figure out how to help you pay for your wedding dress faster. And she changed immediately. She broke out into an ear-to-ear grin and said to me, how do we do that? And immediately we engaged in a very productive conversation on what she could do differently to be successful. And I find this works with customers and clients and prospects as well. If I can find out what the words are that an individual uses to describe what matters most to them, and then use those words, I make an instant emotional connection. And I call these a motivation key, an M key, and it's one of the most important things I look for whenever I'm doing a discovery session with a prospect, client, or salesperson. Thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you on future videos, and please don't hesitate to reach out if there's anything I can do to help. Take care.